the once and future king returns. We have Arthur, the champion of Avalon, companionship, nobility, self-realization, and Arwen, master of the great hunt, authority, the hunt, and natural balance. And I thought it was interesting that both these cards came out together because this deck, the Mausolea deck, it has like four suits, I want to say, and both of these are from the same suit, from the like King Arthur, the Welsh, Irish. And this is a well shuffled deck. This was one of my first Oracle decks. So that kind of synchronicity, it seemed significant. Seemed to kind of match up with the astrology as well. As we just had the full moon in Libra, and right on that same day, the Mars and Saturn conjunction began, and that should peak in about 2 weeks. So that's kind of like a three-way car crash all at once. That's a lot of energy. And the way this is coming across to me, so if you take a look at these two next to each other, it's kind of like his evolved form. Because Arthur is supposed to return from Avalon, and Avalon is a place of healing, of transition. And Arwen is like the master of the other world in Welsh mythology. I think it's Welsh. So it's like coming back after the dark night of the soul, maybe an individuation process, or there's the tree of life or the tree of death initiations, if you follow any of the hermetic type things. I think that's hermetic. But it's Sephiroth and Klepoth, I think, are the terms for those, which I'm probably not pronouncing correctly. But some sort of healing journey is wrapping up, leading to something new, but there's that tension with the Mars-Saturn conjunction and whatever the Libra full moon brought to the surface. It's like it's being withheld. Because Mars is a planet of action, Saturn the planet of restriction. They're in this like tug of war over whatever's going on with that full moon. So let's see, we've got the Citadel deck out here. I've been eyeballing this forever. I finally decided to pick it up. We've got the Hunter in reverse, Sure-footedness and Predestination, and the Cartographer, a crossroads and exploration. That's an interesting combination. Predestination and the Cartographer. It's like not being able to see the way forward. A whole new frontier? But I'm getting like free of something of the past. I don't know, if some sort of conflict with someone. Get more infos. This is a very pretty deck. The Citadel deck. And it's like partially based on D&D. It's got the divination function as its primary, and then in the later part of the book, the little booklet that comes with it, there's like a game structure to it. So what else about this new frontier? It's like we're writing the map of the new world, free of I don't know, prying eyes? Or is that what's being sought? The new world? 'Cause there's a lot of issues with a lot of systemic structures and things like that, the way things are presently done, because they're harmful to the people that they're supposed to support and the people that are supposed to depend on them and the people that its function relies on. Like, it's kind of a vicious cycle there. And Arthur, though I don't know much, not super familiar with the King Arthur lore, but a very, like, a leader of the people, because he was hidden for a while, like amongst the thieves, amongst the riffraff. 4 of coins. But it's in reverse. So releasing control. Releasing control of what's to come. Because, and granted, I'm basing this off of what I'm remembering of the movie with the guy from Sons of Anarchy. He just kind of haphazardly went up to the sword and the stone and he was able to pull it. Like, he had no idea of his lineage, anything like that. It was just a casual, like, well, everybody's trying it, why not? It's like Thor's hammer. Except it wasn't a little budge on the coffee table. Like, he just straight up pulled it out of the stone. This card again, Temperance. I think this card has come out every time I've used this deck. The dog and their bone. So dog's coming home from the butcher. Oh, and this is a Temperance card. But the dog's coming home from the butcher with a bone and sees his reflection in the river, and not realizing it's his reflection, he goes after himself for the bigger bone, ultimately losing his prize. So it's a cautionary tale of greed. And Temperance energy is usually like, it's an active approach to maintaining balance. Like, it's not you set the scales and they remain that way in perpetuity. And this is actually a Sag card, Sagittarius, as I'm looking at the dice roll here, because I got Sag and the 9th house, so double Sag, and Uranus. A revolutionary lesson. And I mean, it might be pretty revolutionary to a dog to understand the concept of a reflection. That would be pretty advanced thinking from that perspective. It's like all the surrender, releasing of control, that has to go into maintaining temperance. Because that's like, it's like walking a tightrope with the stick. It requires like constant adjustments to get all the way to the other side. Very stressful situation. Like, even the most experienced tightrope walker is still on a tightrope. So what else about this Temperance energy? Is that somehow revolutionary? Like a temperate leader? Kind of feels like it right now, like, not gonna lie. That would be revolutionary at the moment. Maybe we need a King Arthur. Because that's really what he was known for, the way that he ran Camelot. A little naive. So I think he ran into some betrayal issues with, starts with a G. Guinevere? And Morgan Le Fay. Lancelot. And I think at some point there was also the issue with like the Green Knight. Stuff like that. So lots of challenges during his reign. And there was also that jump from like pleb, commoner, to ruler. That's a pretty significant role change, and that even the smartest of persons, that's still going to result in like naivete, because it's just, he's a fish out of water, you know, completely different way of living. Oh, thought about it. But that once and future king, I think I will take all three. That once and future king, I've had that sitting on the shelf for a little bit. I got like a $5 used copy. It's supposed to be the quintessential King Arthur book from what I was reading. But we've got the 7 of Scepters in the upright, and that scepters is wands. 10 of Scepters in reverse, and 3 of Spikes, 3 of Swords. It's a little rough of a hand. 7 of Wands, that's defending your position after victory, so I mean, there's a constant theme throughout Arthur's reign. The never-ending burden, that 10 of Wands in reverse. But then the heartbreak, I mean, the tax, the toll that would take on someone, just like constant being challenged for your position and not knowing if you can trust your Knights of the Round Table and all that. You need some good support going into that. So going into the unknown, just charting a new path. Like, are you doing something majorly different in your life? It would make sense after like a dark night of the soul individuation journey like that, that your life is going to look different. You might, like, especially if you've given up any sort of vice, it can be really difficult to like break away from those past friendships and things like that, especially if nothing is particularly wrong. There's like an association to an activity that you not only don't do anymore, but maybe they continue to partake in. You know, if you don't drink, or maybe just the club life isn't for you and you'd rather go hiking, play video games together or something, and then you can all be in your individual homes imbibing in your vice of choice. You know, whatever it looks like for you, but some sort of major change that it seems like other people have an issue with. So what is the problem here? Why the hostility towards the new ruler? And I mean, on the macro scale, a lot of global events going on. So, I don't know. And I don't know if we're coming up on an election cycle. I think midterms are this year. So, some sort of changing of the guard. And people want to test, I don't know, the worthiness of the newcomer, something like that. Seems a little excessive. Maybe, like, support the person in charge because, like, we're all on the same ship. You know? That's my thought. But why the hostility? Four-way. I'm just going to take the bottom one. The patron. Mentorship and finances. But it was in reverse. I want to see what the book says. I'm still learning this. Patron. Goodness gracious. This is the Academy suit. So this one also has 4 suits. 76. Amongst the chatter and the music of the salon, one voice rises above the others, confident and companionable. The patron has achieved a certain level of success and prosperity, and makes it their business to know everyone around them, particularly those with talent who might just need a little extra support to fulfill their potential. See? Helping everybody on the ship. And reversed meaning. While you're busy looking for that mentor figure in your life, others might be using that as an opportunity to take what they want from you. Not everyone has your development in mind. No matter how smooth a talker they may be, chances are you have more to offer them right now than they have to offer you. Know your own value and don't let yourself be taken advantage of. So being careful about who you trust. Because in any new situation, like, say it's a job, you know, say you're like the new manager or something. It's going to take a minute to get, like, the lay of the land, figure out the office politics and things like that. And many moons ago, when I was working as a manager in a coffee shop, I think one of the things that I did that caused friction was changing things too quickly. It's not that those changes didn't need to be made. It's that I kind of, like, came out the gate swinging, you know? Because there were a lot of problems that I found. Mostly because just there was a lot of background to that. So maybe it's something like that. Like, you're walking into some sort of situation where there's a reason the guard has changed. Like, there's a reason for new leadership. And so there's going to be things to resolve. Maybe sorting those out into, like, immediate and then more middle timeline and then more long-term, whatnot. At least start building a plan, even if you can't act on it right away. We've got the 8 of Hearts, or the 8 of Cups, in reverse. And the Wisdom King, the Hierophant. And the 8 of Cups, that's Joseph's multicolor coat that was taken from him. But the 8 of Cups Because in the upright it talks about that being taken, this gift being like coveted by his siblings, maybe? So it's like not letting the prized possession be taken. Because this is a card of leaving. This is Saturn and Pisces, which is actually where that conjunction is happening right now. And then the Hierophant, that's institutions, learning. So it could be a work thing. Maybe you're a minister and you're taking over the church goings-ons, things like that. Going up a rank in whatever the hierarchy is for your paradigm. Standing your ground. Because there's, in a like office politics, business sort of dynamic like that, where everybody's going to have to continue to get along, or they're trying to get, I don't know, dirt on you or something, there's going to be like the fake niceness. And then the testing of the boundaries, like, what is it? I've heard the term like pseudo-hostility. I use the term Schrodinger's douchebag. It's like, it's not determined if it's a joke or not until you give your reaction. So something like that. So maybe you're a woman coming in to a more like heavily male or all male team, something like that. Like it's going to be the testing of the boundaries with like sexist jokes and things like that. You can always put them on the spot and just like, oh, I don't get it. Can you explain that to me, please? Like really make them think about what they're saying. And then sit there in stunned silence if they actually double down on the tasteless joke. Take the bottom one. 5 of coins. Yeah, 5 of pentacles. Tangled mess. Because that testing of the boundaries, that can lead to real consequences. Just having a very tangible effect on people who want to make stupid jokes and stuff like that in the workplace. Like, no, read the room. This is not the place to go that far. If you want to be Schrodinger's douchebag on your personal time, that's your prerogative. But in the workplace, like, no. And it's actually a really good boundary as the new manager when it arises to put your foot down. Because it's not like the example that I was giving where like I acted too quickly for the culture, for the vibe. An opportunity presents itself and then you act. And it shows how serious you are about like, this has no place in my kingdom, you know? That might, I would say it's definitely going to get mixed results. And I can't think of much other situations like that, like in the real world, you know, other than a job. Like, I don't know, maybe you're a politician or something. But you're taking something over. So, didn't even ask a question, but let's see. What do we need to know? The Sleeper. Ooh, what a cool card. Very pretty. Cause and effect and clarity. And that slid out by itself. So it's like that hidden truth, whatever came up with the Libra full moon is like breaching the surface from like a dream state, from whatever darkness it's hiding within. Some sort of tea on how things have been run in the past. Because that's an important component of the transition, is getting an understanding of, like, what are you walking into? Because on one hand, you know, if this is a job situation, you've gone through the interviews, and those are, like, really relegated to qualifications and your experience and things like that. But then when you actually get into the position, now you have the ability to start understanding the culture, the goings-ons, just kind of getting a feel for the mullings abouts of the hive. So what's coming to the surface? What is this? What are we all sleeping on? What's this hidden revolutionary truth? As the ninth house, I mean, a big component of that is learning. But it's also about philosophy and ethics. So, there's that clock chime. It's like reading between the lines. Because I didn't ask the question when the card came out. It's just observing the behaviors between the words without prompting, without asking, like becoming the observer, not the inquirer. How do people act when they think no one's looking? Might be throwing some shade. Eight of Scepters. This is Pegasus. Pegasus was born from a pretty tumultuous situation. You know, when Medusa was relieved of her head by Perseus, Pegasus and the Golden Giant burst from her neck. And they would have been the progeny of Poseidon assaulting Medusa. So something sordid coming forward. Something really sordid coming forward. Maybe whatever reason the old guard left is bad. Really bad. And like the Eight of Wands, that's a lot of power behind that. Like, that can be an evil eye card, or if you're dealing with a practitioner and they're sending spell work in your direction, that's a lot of energy being directed at you. That could be like, say, go to the politician example. You know, politicians are gonna like gain control of the official like social media accounts, and so that could be like a hostile comment section. That could be somebody, like one person who doesn't like this individual, buying bots to like flood the comment section with that like plural of anecdote that affects collective opinion but has no basis in reality, or half basis in reality. It's like half truths, things that have been manipulated. It's like something really calculated like that. Because like Perseus going after Medusa was no accident. This wasn't a happenstance encounter, like he was hunting her. So maybe this is really serious. Like, that's why leadership is changing. It could be, I don't know, like a corrupt cop or something. Like a corrupt police commissioner or something. You're getting replaced. I'll take all of those. 10 of spikes, 10 of swords in reverse. King of hearts, they're actually all in reverse. King of hearts and 4 of scepters, 4 of wands. Brutal. This King of hearts, this is the Ark of the Covenant at the tabernacle. And that's supposed to be like Eden on Earth. You know, after Exodus, this would be like Prince of Egypt Part 2. The Ark of the Covenant, that was the extension of the Garden of Eden, I'm pretty sure. And 10 of spikes, this was a really sad story, and that seems relevant. I'm gonna grab the book for that. And 4 of scepters, that's supposed to be the homecoming card, the ceremony of the lovers. It's also the choosing of the champion that we see in the 6 of wands when that card comes around. Because the 4 of wands is choosing the champion. The 5 of wands is friendly competition, or it's supposed to be at least. You know, actually getting in there and training with other people that are going to be in this competition or that are on your team or whatnot. And then the 6 is the results of the competition, which is like being paraded through the streets with wreaths and things like that. And so, I don't know, it's like corruption. Like, these aren't exactly the corruption cards, because corruption would be like the Devil and the Hierophant, and that's really bad corruption. Or the 7 of Swords and the Hierophant. Something like that. But let's see this 10 of spikes. But that would most certainly be a reason for a changing of the guard, for a changing of leadership. The White Lady. Betrayal of a love, murder, self-deletion, honor killings, and husbands lost at sea. These are all common themes surrounding the global legends of the White Lady. She has often been the precursor to disastrous news, usually appearing in a long white dress or sleeping gown by day or night in a residence where someone will soon pass away, and even materializes in photographs just before or after their death. One such legend follows the haunting spirit of a young Canadian woman whose betrothed was killed while fighting the British in the Battle of Beauport. Devastated, she chose to end her life at the site of their frequent meetings, the top of the Montmorency Falls near Quebec City, throwing herself in the raging waters, clothed in the wedding dress she never got to wear. But this is recovery in reverse. It's like letting that go. Which maybe that's the transition that's happening to the new world. Whatever that represents here. Coming in to heal a situation, you know, this devastation all led to the mortal wound that led Arthur into Avalon, but now it's time for the healing. It's time to sew everything up and start the repair. So what? What challenge might we face in getting that momentum started for repairing whatever this is? And repairing, that's a very relative word, because repairing doesn't necessarily mean fixing something in this context. It could be something needs to go, it's already been established, I think, with the new leadership. But it's like when people use the word reconciliation. When you reconcile with like a breakup or something, it doesn't necessarily mean you're coming back together. It just means that you're understanding the lesson, you're actually going through the healing and accepting things for what happened. For maybe you've got more to heal. I don't know. Maybe that wound is deeper than you thought it was. Maybe this corruption runs deeper than previously thought. So what's the challenge? The Witch. Experimentation and rebellion. Someone rebelling against you? As the clock chimes? Yes? Okay. So maybe the whomevers that are like challenging the worthiness of the new contender. The long-standing employees that have been there forever that like, oh, this is the way we've always done it. Well, this is wrong. Like, I hate to break it to you, but we cannot continue doing things this way because that's what got us here. So we're going to have to change. That sort of resistance. So that might be the experimentation, the testing of the boundaries. The, like, yeah, there was a point in time where you were able to get away with making sexist jokes, and that's in the past. Today's a new day. No more. Zero tolerance. And then not backing down at whomever is going to underestimate you. Like, whoever is going to take that as a bluff and not take you seriously, you got to be serious about it. If you are taking it upon yourself to be a leader, be a leader. It's the, like, people who get in positions that they want the respect, not the responsibility. It doesn't work that way. Because that's how kingdoms fall. Ooh. 7 of coins. So is this happening now? Because this is like the patience card. Like waiting for the seeds to grow. Like there's, in the Rider-Waite, there's somebody kind of leaned on a rake. Just kind of like watching grass grow. You know, kind of taking a while. So maybe the wait is over. Or maybe there won't be a significant weight to being challenged. As the candle flickers, might be a yes. Might be a quick challenge. And it does, like, that does happen. You know, people have their loyalties and whatnot, even when they're presented with evidence that, like, there was significant wrongdoing. I don't know. That's just not the way I operate. It's my principles and my core values first. And loyalty. Like, you have to pour into loyalty on both sides, because otherwise it's just fealty. But maybe that's like an undercurrent of the culture is fealty. That sort of like serfdom, medieval. So maybe they're not all the way evil. It's just middle evil, you know, they're misguided maybe. And you're not their parent. Like, these are adults. They have to come to terms with change on, like, in their way. It's your job as a leader to hold the line. To, like, there's no exceptions to cutting corners, making prejudiced jokes that, like, they're just in bad taste. Like, they're not clever, they're not good. That's the thing that really drives me crazy, is, like, the defense of some of these jokes. Like, they're not even good jokes. Like, they're lazy. We've got Vice, the devil, Moby Dick, hunting the white whale. Getting addiction from that. I mean, usually that'd be like White Pony, Deftones. But I can't remember how this ended, but I vaguely remember just the amount of effort that went into hunting Moby Dick. And, you know, just chopping his boat in half. It's like losing everything to hunt the white whale. Like, why? There are more whales in the sea. Why this one in particular? Like, why destroy your entire life, this whole legacy, for that whale? Because this whale, filled with spears and who's fighting back, clearly wants to be left alone. Like, clearly this is not a consensual exchange. But people just get laser focused on goals and don't pause and sleep on things. And, like, is this good for me? Is this even what I want? And if yes, how do I bridge the gap? Like, they just charge forward, and sure, there's times for that to be like the juggernaut, to just be thick-headed and go forward, but when it's costing you all your resources, your transportation, your everything, like, get a rest. Because they're in the middle of the ocean. Like, where are you gonna land? Just planning on treading water for the rest of your life? The Mage. Uh-oh. It's in reverse. Manipulation. Ooh. Goodness gracious. And that's really bad manipulation. So kind of carrying on with this corruption theme. Because this is Kitsune. Fox Spirit. But in reverse, the Magician card That's the manipulator, but they're manipulating using all of the four suits. Is like the emperor, that's the culmination of the kings, and the empress is the culmination of the queens of all four suits. The mage is the magic of all four suits. The mastery of the unseen and the intangible in all four of them, being able to like be a master of your reality. But it's like it's all being directed at trying to take down a benevolent leader. Which, why? It only hurts everyone. Like, that's the outcome. I guess that's just ego blindness. Ego blinders. Because Kitsune here, I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but looks crazed in the eyes. You know, that like Japanese art style, their eyes are like stark open. It kind of looks like they're carrying a little dynamite. And there's also the mask right there. So being able to float between perceptions, but using it for evil. It'd be like if Moby Dick was a protected species or something, the last of its kind, the last unicorn, you know, carrying over from the full moon reading where it's using that deck. But this person feels like they are the exception to be the hunter. They don't care that it's the last of its kind. Like, the rationale is that, like, well, it's going to die anyway. Might as well be at my hand, you know, being completely selfish, self-centered, not having any consideration for other people that might want to, you know, gaze upon the great white whale, you know, whatever. So maybe this is actually adversarial, as the candle goes, between Arthur and Arwen. I thought it was like an evolution. And maybe it is. Maybe it's an evolution of the relationship. What was once collaborative is now adversarial. Mars and Saturn, that clash. And that's what the Libra full moon is bringing to the surface. It's like the true intent that was lurking, all the misery that was hiding beneath the surface, all the collateral damage in the environment. Seems like a rough situation, but something that is necessary to come to the surface, because something like this is going to lead to both intentional and unintentional harm to everybody involved. And if you are tasked with being Arthur in this situation, you don't just have a round table to consider. You have an entire kingdom, and the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the corrupt few. Because what did they do with all that power when it was unrestrained and nobody was looking? Man-eater. Man-eating shark. Maybe that's the signal to make sure you've got your leisure activity queued up. You know, you've got, we're talking about maybe gaming with friends or something, you know, ensuring that on your computer, on your console, whatever, that you've got both some solo and some group games. So you've got that flexibility for when it comes up, you know. I know my focus has been a really difficult challenge for me as of late. So I like to have popcorn games around, like just something I can do for 30 minutes and not feel like I only spent the time trying to get back up to speed. You know, I can just drop into a lobby. I like Titanfall. It's Titanfall 2 because I think the servers for the first one are shut down. But Titanfall 2, I like that. I like the zombies mode on Call of Duty. Bit longer of a game, depending on how everything's going, because you can also die really fast. But something like that. Just something to gain some space, some boundaries from this, and also away from this crowd. Because that's something I don't think I would do again, is like try and incorporate my coworkers into leisure activities like gaming with them and whatnot. I just need more separation than that, because then like boundaries kind of start to blur and things like that. And like gaming is generally a it's a safe activity, like you're online, you know, but the problem is that it's leaking over into your personal time. Like people aren't staying in their lane that way. And man, what if you had like an awkward office interaction or something, and then it sets up an opportunity for like that weirdness, you know, when people pretend that like nothing happened, but like we both know that we were just arguing earlier in the day, but everybody's online playing Call of Duty or whatever. So it makes things messy, and you can always mess with your privacy settings to show whether or not you're online or things like that, just to kind of create those boundaries. But overall, I hope this helps. I hope this resonates, and if it doesn't, I hope the next one does. Thank you so much.